Well, this is Nitin Dahad at the RISC-V Summit in North America 2024 here in Santa Clara, California. And I am talking to Calista Redmond and Andrea Gallo of the RISC-V International. Hello, Calista. Hello, Andrea.
Hi, Nitin. Great to see you again.
Hi, Nitin.
Well, it's been quite a successful event. Tell us a little bit about the big headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a huge testament to this community, the collaboration that we're seeing, and more than 16,000 individuals that are engaged in our community around the world, and that includes like around 4,600 different members, and the predictions are continuing to be very strong. We heard from SHD Group that the numbers are looking about 2 billion SOCs, not cores, but SOCs, which means even more multiples of that in cores. So about 2 billion in 2024, growing in 5 years to 20 billion in 2031. So it is very strong growth, and we're very excited about that. And, I think part of it also that we're seeing is the entrenched investment around the world. So in many different geographies, regions like the European Union, Latin America, North America, and Asia.
Well, yeah, I think you talked about the initiatives around the world, and we've already heard in previous conferences about China and India. But yeah, you on your keynote yesterday, you put Brazil up there as well. And my friend Marcelo Zufo is pretty active there in those projects with RISC-V, and he was telling me about them. Just tell me a little bit about all of that engagement.
Yeah, so it's really been an honor for us to work together with Brazil. We hosted an event with them earlier this year where the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation in Brazil came on board at the top levels for RISC-V to really take a leadership position. And, in Brazil, they are doing a lot of investment in education to train the next generation on RISC-V. They're working very hard to surround and incubate startups, as well as to incentivize multinationals and others to engage Brazil in the digital economy. And so this is a huge testament to their conviction that RISC-V is absolutely the platform to build on.
Well, they've been trying for a long time, because I started engaging with them in 2011, and it's been like an ongoing project to figure out how to deploy some of the latest technologies. But I think now that they've got this engagement here, it might be quite interesting.
Well, and I think what's different now than it was 15 years ago is that there are no barriers to entry. Right? I mean, starting a hardware company or growing even a software company takes a level of resource commitment and dedication across all sectors and all stakeholders. So that's something that Brazil is able to bring together.
And what about some of the other initiatives? I mean, yesterday on the show floor, I think I saw one. I think it was a China one student, one chip initiative, and there's various other things. I mean, tell me a little bit about some of your favorites.
Yeah, so that is definitely a favorite. That's out of the Beijing Open Source Chip Organization, and it sort of is a follow-on effort from where RISC-V started, right? I mean, you look at the genesis of RISC-V in a lab at Berkeley to enable students to go from idea to tape out. That was the original premise of RISC-V. And to take that one step further, as they have at BOSC, to say one student, one chip. Now, we're seeing that in the programming also in Brazil, where they're working hard to develop programs that take students from initial education through to tape out as well. So these same models are really engaging and training the next generation.
Okay, and now one of the things that I suppose bugged me every year I heard you say a keynote was RISC-V is inevitable. Okay, and now you didn't use that yesterday. I think it was quite good, but I think it sort of lends itself to, or it sort of shows why there's real things happening which you can talk about now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that we see the numbers are starting to add up. The data is there, that we see the proof points both in market as well as in the analyst forecast is testament to that traction really starting to catch on.
Okay. Now let's turn to Andrea. You've been with the organization just a very short time.
4 months.
4 months, yes. But I think you've got a very strong pedigree. Just tell us a bit about your background and so what you want to bring to the RISC-V Foundation. Sorry, RISC-V International.
Yeah, I spent the last 12 years in coordinating collaborative projects in the ARM ecosystem at Linaro, and before that I was with ST Micro working on modems, telecom, smartphones, application processors.
And you even wrote an article 20 years ago in the E-Times on that.
Yeah, and you published it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that was optimizing modems and ADSL modems, and that was about optimizing the architectures between hardware and software.
Which is kind of very relevant
Which is
for
what
now.
I'm bringing here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm enjoying doing here. And it's looking at complex workloads, identifying the bottlenecks, and identifying how evolutions of the ISA will remove those roadblocks. Okay. And one of the points that we have been discussing together is discipline in doing this. Whenever we ratify an extension, it's important that we do it not just because it's a cool thing from a technical perspective, but because there's a need for products. There are products out there that need that performance boost, need that additional security feature, and that's when all the members get together, they see a common problem to solve, and they work on these ratifications, on these new specifications.
And I think that is actually quite interesting because one of the messages I was hearing at the show this time is about how the strong discipline in the ecosystem, because otherwise some of the arguments against RISC-V in the past has been around, oh, if you customize something, you'll break something, or the tools aren't there, or the software isn't there. But I think there's a different way of looking at it now, isn't it?
It's incredible that we are funneling the energy, the pace of innovation from this ecosystem, from all the members that are competitors outside. We funnel this energy towards these common specifications because there's a common value for everyone. And this is what led to the ratification of the RVA 23 earlier this week.
Okay.
While in embedded, you control the entire software stack yourself for a specific platform. When you want to focus on use cases and markets, the industry verticals like automotive or smartphones or data center, then you need to run your operating systems as binary on as many platforms as possible. The challenge would be that if the platforms are all different, the common would be extremely small. So the RVA 23 is a specification that mandates all the key extensions that are required for modern application processors and set the bar high enough to have the level of performance and security that we need for data center, for smartphones, for automotive. And in particular, we are mandating support for hypervisors and the vector extensions.
Now, there's some impressive talks from NVIDIA, Google, and Alibaba, everybody. What are your key takeaways? I mean, there's something. What are the key messages that you think you got from the conference?
The vibe. I confirm the vibe. I confirm the energy, and the performance is growing incredibly, and performance and security together. And so it's energy, it's innovation, and I like to say it's discipline.
Okay. Well, I mean, just from the panel that we had as a media group on, I think you had Microchip and Andy's technology. What I was, I suppose, quite impressed with is, how the Microchip is on several generations of its PolarFire now, and it's evolved, and it's very specific to specific applications.
They are bringing RISC-V in space.
Yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah.
And then Andy's as well with their numbers. So I think there's a lot more sort of confidence I'm seeing. Is that right?
Confidence and performance.
Okay.
Yes.
And back to you, Kalista. So what's been your highlight of the show?
Honestly, it's the moments where we get to see real numbers. NVIDIA, reiterated that they are shipping RISC-V in everything they do, and that's more than 1 billion cores, a year. So that's an amazing testament to the confidence and reliability that is going on, along with the numbers from Andy's, and we've heard from Qualcomm in the past. Really you start to put all this together and you really start to understand the momentum behind it, the depth of investment, the proliferation that RISC-V is having. Beyond that, it is the outpouring from around the world. This is not something that is North America centric, Europe centric, China centric. We have folks coming into every one of our summits from around the world, and you saw that here too.
Okay. And what's on your agenda now? What can we expect in the next year?
Well, Andrea and the technical side of RISC-V has done amazing progress in ratifying RVA 23 and RVB 23, our profiles. And next up, I'm super excited to see platform coming through and getting ratified. That will usher in an entire wave of new activity around performance and data center level confidence in RISC-V. So I'm eager and excited to see that coming on next.
Okay.
And as well as some of the projects and initiatives that we see going on around kind of ensuring talent around the world, whether that's through training programs, universities, or government support, that we continue to see that growth and proliferation. We already know about several collaborative agreements going on. And speaking of collaboration, that's going on in industry too. I mean, you see things like OpenChip and Kentaurus that have come out in the last year. We're going to see more of that. It's collaboration between all parts, all stakeholders, that is really ushering and accelerating that shared resource, that co-design that is going to bring us forward in automotive, AI, ML, all the workloads that are important to RISC-V.
Well, I'm hoping to speak to Kentaurus at Electronica in 2 weeks, but Kalista and Andrea, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, and always a pleasure.